If you have these strange burning sensations, just know that you have the ability to make them go away, along with other symptoms you're feeling. Is it going to be difficult? Yes. Is it going to be one of the hardest things you do? Probably, along with everything else you have to do to recover from CFS. But is it going to be worth it? 1000%. There is a whole life after CFS. How's it going, guys? Miguel here from CFS Recovery. This channel is dedicated to helping people recover from chronic fatigue syndrome or CFS, and recover not just short term, but for long term, to recover for good. Now, the topic of this video is going to be covering strange burning sensations, aches and pains. Could be in your body, could be in your head, could be from headaches, things like that. But nonetheless, it's gonna be that weird, strange, chronic pain that seems to come and go, or maybe it's there 24/7, that can't be explained. Now, I'm somebody who's dealt with this for a very long time. I experienced this for about 3 years, right? This happened about a year into my illness. At first it was fatigue, lots of anxiety, headaches, heart palpitations, but the actual body aches and pains came a bit further down the road. And when they hit me hard, it was very painful. Now, most of the time, for people who get lots of pain, they typically see lots of different doctors. They try to do massage, acupuncture, chiropractor, physio. And those things, they can help temporarily, but the pain always seems to come back, and it seems to come and go as it pleases, and it's triggered by things that you wouldn't think would trigger pain. And I'm gonna get to that in a little bit here. So if you're somebody who's been struggling with that, then stick around, because I'm gonna break down pretty much what's going on and also what you can do to absolutely fix the chronic pain that you feel in your body. I myself used to have pain that was literally a 10 out of 10 at times, to the point where I couldn't even roll over in bed because it felt like my body was burning. So it was really difficult. However, now I don't have chronic pain anymore. I could do all the things that I used to do. I could work full time, I can travel, I can have these bright lights in my face, and I won't have any chronic pain or any other symptoms. So let's turn back the clock a little bit. When I had a lot of pain, my doctors were looking at the scans and all the blood tests, and it wasn't making sense to them, because the pain I was feeling was not traceable to things that were actually happening in my body. And I did not understand that. It felt like my legs were on fire. They felt very heavy. A lot of times when I was in bed, it felt like there was an elephant literally sitting on my legs. My legs felt like bricks. I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was muscle wasting, which I went down that rabbit hole and got lost in that. And then I got scared, thought my kidneys were gonna fail, because my muscles were shrinking a ton. So I thought, okay, my muscles were just melting away. That's why they hurt, which explained some of it. But it didn't explain why sometimes I would do certain things and my legs would feel like they were on fire, for example. And this happens to a lot of people as well, not just me, especially a lot of people in the program. They can look at a computer screen, and just looking at a computer screen, doing nothing with their legs, not moving them at all, just sitting down there, looking at a computer screen or their cell phone for long periods of time can trigger leg pain. So that right there is an indicator that the problem actually does not have to do with the legs. And so before we dive deeper into this, there is this concept that you need to understand if you're gonna wrap your head around this and apply this brain training exercise and believe and do it properly. Pain can be separated into two categories. One is acute pain, the other is chronic pain. Now, acute pain is real pain that's happening. That pain that comes when you touch a hot stove when you're a kid, when you stub your toe on the corner of a table, that's acute pain. That's your body sending a signal to your brain. Think about it that way. Your body is sending a signal to your brain that there is a danger and it does not like whatever's happening, and you should avoid that at all costs. That's what acute pain is. On the other hand, there's chronic pain, and this is learned pain over time. It's almost like anticipatory pain. So your brain anticipates something is gonna happen, so it triggers pain. So let's say I'm walking around and I stub my toe on this coffee table over here, and I do it once, right? I'll feel pain for 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds. I could stub it 5 times in a row, and I'll feel it for about 15 to 20 seconds. If I stub my toe on that coffee table for 20 days in a row, eventually my brain is gonna start to recognize that coffee table, and anytime I get close to it, it's likely gonna trigger a little bit of pain in my foot, just to remind me and warn me, hey, you need to stop doing this. Watch out for that corner, because you keep messing up. We're trying to save you, we're trying to help you. So we're gonna put a little limiter on your body. We're gonna put these warning signs just to make sure you don't keep stubbing your toe. And if I keep doing it, guess what? That pain is gonna stick around even before I walk close to that table. Maybe just looking at that table, I'm gonna feel some pain eventually. That's how extreme it can get. So chronic pain is learned pain. Acute pain is actual danger that's happening to the body. And what happens is chronic pain is a limiter that your brain places on your body. It anticipates danger. So these burning sensations that we feel in our body, it feels like something's happening in our muscles, our joints, our tissues, but what's actually happening is pain is actually processed in our brain. Our pain is not processed in our body. Even if it's acute pain, it's actually processed in our brain. And what happens is there are these pain centers in your brain that become stimulated over time. And if they get stimulated again and again and again, then it can develop into chronic pain. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be a pain that stimulates those areas. When your nervous system is hypersensitive, your brain, which is attached to your nervous system, can start to run wild. There are certain areas of your brain that are triggered that typically won't be triggered, specifically chronic pain centers. So what happened to me was at first I developed fatigue, general anxiety, wired buzzing feeling in my body, shortness of breath, things like that. And then it moved on to more strange neurological things. That's when I started getting deeper into the illness. Things like severe brain fog, palpitations, POTS symptoms, sensitivity to light, sensitivity to sound. And even just turning on a light, my body would be super sensitive, and the light going into my eyes would trigger a headache, would trigger a migraine. Sometimes my dad just touching my arm, that would feel painful. It felt like someone punched me in the arm instead. And it would just have these weird tingling, burning sensations. And I couldn't explain it, nor could my doctors, which only scared me more, which made me more anxious, which led to a more hypersensitive nervous system, which led to those pain centers in my brain being stimulated yet again. So the pain was like a snowball. It got worse and worse as time went on. But what you have to understand is that the pain you're feeling, first of all, it's not in your body. Most likely, if you don't have some serious injury or they can't detect something that's happening physiologically in your body, then you can rest assured that your brain is just sending chronic pain signals to your body. Now, it was very difficult because now even taking things like Tylenol might not even help. They might help a little, but that's just masking the pain. That's not really fixing the problem. The last thing you want to do is actually mask the pain because it only comes back stronger. What we need to do is work on those pain centers and retrain those centers so that we can teach the chronic pain to go away. And the way you do that is through a specific brain retraining exercise, which I break down in very specific detail in this video up here. I'm not going to break it down in this video because that video explains it the best way possible. It's only 5 minutes long. I would highly recommend to go check that video out. But you need to retrain the pain in your brain, right? When we don't know what's going on, it can be really scary because we think we just have to wait out these symptoms. We think we have to just lie there and wait it out and eventually it's going to go away. That's not really how it works. There's a book that you must digest as well. Either read it or listen to it on audible.com. Either read it or listen to the audiobook version of it, because this is the resource that my doctor shared with me, as well as some articles from the same author. And the name of that book is The Brain That Changes Itself, and the brain's way of healing. That book talks about neuroplasticity and how people have gone on to heal chronic pain that has stuck around for years and years, and it's actually fascinating. It's remarkable. And I know it works because it worked for me, and my pain was severe levels. At one point when I was so bad that it felt like I was being electrocuted and I could not even lift a finger for about 12 hours. I remember that night. It was around 9 p.m. It hit me. I just rolled over in bed. All of a sudden I felt pins and needles on my entire body. And it felt like someone was putting pressure on my bones and trying to break my bones. That's what it felt like. My pain was a 10 out of 10 that night. At one point, I think it was like 4 a.m., but he took his finger and he touched my shin. And it literally felt like someone took a baseball bat and hit me in the shin as hard as they could. It felt like my bone broke or something, and it was horrible. So those pain centers in my brain were just on fire, and I didn't know what was going on, and the anxiety, the panic did not help at all. It was just the worst crash you could think of. But with its brain retraining, it helped me, along with a few other things that I teach on this channel, get rid of all the chronic pain and all the symptoms. Now, specifically for chronic pain, do this exercise, and I can almost guarantee that it's going to help you if you do it enough times. Now, the thing with this is you have to be relentless when you do this. You have to challenge every episode of pain that you experience, and it works. There have been people in the program who do this and they drastically reduce their pain in a matter of weeks. And they have had this for 4 or 5 years. They didn't know what to do with it, took medication for it, seen doctors, seen specialists, and they just kept throwing medication at it. With the specific brain training, the effects, it worked faster, the effects lasted longer, and long term it was just more beneficial, right? So this brain retraining exercise is highly recommended. Like I said, it's in this video up here, it's completely free. All you have to do is actually put in the work for it. And in that book, The Brain's Way of Healing, or it could be The Brain That Changes Itself, you will see actual scenarios in that book of people who have overcome their severe chronic pain issues, people who have had herniated discs and broken shoulders and things like that. So once you understand all that, then you know how to solve the problem. The strange burning sensations in the body, that can go away. You have the ability to make that go away. Don't think it's something you have to live with for the rest of your life. Even people who were diagnosed, I'm gonna make a bold statement here, and the reason I can say this with confidence is because it actually is true. And this has happened to some people in the program. There's this one lady specifically, she was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and there's pain all over the body, in the feet, all over the herniated disc. And she started using the brain retraining exercise, and she's in the program. So I'm constantly reminding her, make sure you're doing the brain retraining. Every call, are you doing the brain retraining? Oh, you're feeling more pain? Do the brain retraining. Every opportunity you get, do the brain retraining, and her pain was drastically reduced. So a lot of times, depending on the doctor you go to, you might get a diagnosis of fibromyalgia. The thing with fibromyalgia though, is there's no way to really measure it. And depending on the doctor, I would have gotten diagnosed with fibromyalgia based on the level of pain I was feeling. Over 20 doctors that I saw over those several years. Finally, I was paired up with a doctor who understood how pain worked and how neuroplasticity worked, and he was able to help me get out of the hole. So I'm very grateful for that. I've seen it work for myself. I've seen it work for other people. So if you have these strange burning sensations, just know that you have the ability to make them go away, along with other symptoms you're feeling. Is it going to be difficult? Yes. Is it going to be one of the hardest things you do? Probably, along with everything else you have to do to recover from CFS. But is it going to be worth it? 1000%. There is a whole life after CFS. I say it all the time on calls with people in the program. I feel like I'm on my third life. My first life was life before having chronic fatigue syndrome, or all these symptoms and feeling like you're living in a fog, just feeling like you're living in a nightmare. There was the life before CFS. There was a life during CFS, and for me, that was about 4.5 years. I counted as 4.5 years because as soon as my doctor told me what was going on, I consider myself cured from that point. Because in my mind, I knew all the answers, my body just had to catch up. That itself took about 3 years. The point where I was able to run 10 kilometers a week, do boxing, travel, all of that stuff I was able to do within 3 months. My second life was during CFS, and it was like living a nightmare. That 4.5 years of not knowing what's going on and living in this dark cloud of just negativity, feeling like you're living in a nightmare, that 4.5 years felt like 4.5 decades. That felt like its own lifetime. And then now there's life after CFS. So I was in the hospital just over 4 years ago. My life did not look like this. I couldn't even sit upright. I couldn't even look at a screen. I couldn't have these lights on. I was wearing a blindfold and earplugs all day, getting spoon fed. I couldn't move. I was getting blood thinners literally injected into me every day so I wouldn't get a blood clot. So I've been in the trenches, right? I've been in severe situations, but I'm telling you right now, there is hope after this. You can get better, but you have to put in the work. So comment down below your biggest takeaway from this video. Every single video we do a subscriber comment highlight. So the highlight for this video is actually from Alexandra, and she commented on one of the videos. She said, Miguel's channel is not about pacing or improving life with CFS. It's about healing and getting back to 100% health. I fully recovered using a brain retraining program based on neuroplasticity. I hit rock bottom. I tried a different program before and it did not work for me, but I kept trying and I found the approach that worked for me. Recovery is hard. This is very important. This is the real golden nugget of this comment. Recovery is hard. The hardest thing I ever did in my life, but being sick is hard also. The relationship we have with the symptoms is crucial. When we are not scared of them, we can start our recovery. Everybody has their own truth and recovers in different ways, but it is important to keep the hope alive that recovery is possible. So amazing comment. That's so true. The hardest thing to do is the brain retraining exercise that are needed to overcome this illness, the rewiring of your thoughts, the challenging of the chronic pain that you feel. That's extremely hard. It's even harder than that, staying sick, struggling every day with this, not knowing when you're going to get better, continuing to miss out on life, continuing to watch the world pass you by as the clock just ticks down, because time stops for nobody. So both instances are hard. At least one of them is going to be very hard, but you're going to get a reward from it. And that reward is pretty much a new lease on life. So if you were interested in getting some extra help on your journey, if you were looking to take your recovery to the next level, and you want extra help from someone like myself who's been in the trenches, who probably understands what you're going through, maybe even better than some doctors you've worked with. I'm not saying I'm a doctor, but what I am saying is that I know what it's like to be in your shoes, and I know what it's like to be stuck with all these symptoms, not knowing what to do, being rejected by doctors and being told you're crazy. And I know the solution to it because I've gone through it myself. If you are somebody who's looking for that extra help, or if you're looking to jumpstart your recovery, you can apply for the Recovery Jumpstart program. You can click the link down below. We can hop on a strategy call and we can see if you're a good fit for the program. And if the program is a good fit for you, we want to make sure we are doing the right thing by bringing you into the program. We want to make sure it's the best decision for both of us. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell so that way you don't miss any of the posts we do. We post every single day. And always remember that you are a thriver and you are just one mind shift away from living a life with thriving health. I'll see you in the next video.